everyone, and welcome to another horror review. Okay, let's put a wee bit of context between me coming to watch this movie. I'll tell you why. Normally I pick these at random, looking for quirky, weird stuff. I watched the video yesterday, somebody reading the news article about Sam Raimi handing over the reins of Evil Dead and the new Evil Dead movie coming out. And the whole thing was Lee Cronin, the guy that directed this movie, Sam Raimi basically said, I watched The Hole in the Ground. This is the guy I want to take over the franchise. So automatically, being an Evil Dead fan, being a Sam Raimi fan, I was intrigued. Before we go into the review, let's talk about what's happening here. As you know, the Evil Dead series has a particular flavor and style. It's comedy horror. And it's goofy, it's daft, and we have a lot of fun with it. Now, we saw with the remake, which Colin and I discussed, go and check out the HORRORific talk spot for that episode. Excuse me. God, this is, I thought this was finally going away, but apparently not. Right, so in the review, the remake, The Evil Dead, they made the movie a bit darker and grittier, but still managed to make it Evil Dead and still had some of the comedy involved. We have seen through Ash vs. Evil Dead series that the wacky comedy stays true. I don't get how Sam Raimi looked at this movie and went, this is the future of the Evil Dead series. That's my concern. Nothing against this movie, which we'll dive into, but the styles are completely different. It's like if Derrickson or Wan were looking for somebody to carry on, say, the Insidious series or the Conjuring series or something, I would get it. This is more akin to that, or The Descent. So say they wanted to make The Descent 3, and I can't remember the director. Sorry, I'm just spelling here. Like I said, I don't take notes, and I don't want this to be pre-produced and fake. I just want my feelings on what's going on. So, the person that directed The Descent, if they wanted to make The Descent 3, I wanted to pass on the reins to somebody. Lee Cronin's a person. Robert Eggers wanted to make a similar movie to The Witch. Lee Cronin's a person. I hope you get where I'm going here. There's a certain style to this movie, and I'm not seeing how it's going to translate, or his style is going to translate into the Evil Dead series. Now, this isn't about expanding, carrying on. We've done this. I'll give you an example. Sorry, if you've all seen Drag Me to Hell, that could so easily have been inserted into the Evil Dead series. All I do is a few tweaks, insert an Necronomicon, job done. And that did not, obviously, not a related story, didn't feature Ash Williams, completely different protagonist, but the beats and the comedy were still there. And yes, it was Sam Raimi directed it, but still, that movie with that style, completely separate story, could have fitted into the Evil Dead series. I'm not seeing how Lee Cronin is going to do that. My concern is, as with modern storytellers or the modern Hollywood thing, they don't know how to have fun anymore. It's like they've forgotten or they've shunned the idea of going to the cinema for a laugh and a bit of fun and escapism. They've completely ditched that idea, which is a shame. And a lot of people, more vocally than me, have been speaking out about this. I don't get it. Horror comedy horror is its own thing, has certain beats. This is more supernatural. It's a darker story. So with that in mind, I am concerned that the Lee Cronin version, now, this was his debut movie. I don't know what else he's directed. It was just purely from the video yesterday I watched from Mr. H Reviews. And he broke down an article. And you know me, I hate news articles and a lot of it. So I like people that do because it saves me having to read them or waste my time. But he brought this up and I was intrigued about the movie. Thought I'd watch it. I am so sorry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our horrific tale on your own with the best spinners. I'm sure you can appreciate it. I tried my best, and I've still a few technical difficulties here. But we're getting there and we're steaming ahead. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. Is not taken away from Lee Cronin as a director, not throwing, not sandbanging or anything like that, not being nasty. I just don't see how the two styles fit. It's like the whole Blumhouse and James Wan merger. I don't see how those two fit, especially James Wan has a particular style. We talked about this last month on the Horrific Talks About. It's not about how good or bad someone is. It's about styles and how styles merge together. When you've got distinct creative styles, how do they move into something that's already established and we have an expectation? I'll be interested to see. Seen some of the still shots from the video. Looks interesting. No problem at all with not always going back to the cabin, that kind of thing. No problem at all with not being Ash Williams. In the end, Bruce Campbell, he's moved on in life. He shouldn't be a prisoner to a role. And him coming into producer roles and taking more of that side of things, I'm all for. I'm just worrying about this direction, how it's going to end up. Are we going to lose some of the spark that made us love the Evil Dead franchise? And because of the comedy and the goofiness, we forgave a lot of the limitations of the filmmaking. Let's say the first three and the not great continuity and all that stuff, because the characters and the charisma and the storytelling took us over. And I think that's most Evil Dead fans. But on this movie, so this is, we've got Sarah and Chris, mother and son, moving out to a rural village. Now, they're all Irish and it's supposed to be Ireland, but I don't think so. I think this is Europe somewhere, just with the sweeping landscapes. It's like, bit worried. They've kind of used two locations here. They've used somewhere in Europe for the sweeping landscapes, and then they've used parts of Ireland for the house and the neighborhood, if that makes sense. But we got her. She's heading with her son, leaving her. She's left her husband, being very ambiguous about it. We're guessing it's abuse of some sort. It's kind of highly insinuated, but not actually spelt out. And she goes to make a new life. Chris is kind of a timid child, afraid of spiders, doesn't want to make new friends, that kind of stuff. That's all right. Before they even arrive, they encounter this woman in wearing like a ritual robe and stand in the middle of the road near knock her over. I've never seen a Land Rover so agile or swerving the way it does. Normally they just plow through things, but there you go. I expect you a proper old school one that she was driving. This is about the direction it takes you at the start. Sorry, I'm trying not to cough while doing this. The direction it takes you at the start doesn't really give you any hints about what's going on. Because you got her in ritual robes, whispering stuff, and you got her husband, I think. It's what's his face out of Game of Thrones? The guy played, it's a Tormund Jansbane, the Welling, the one with the ginger hair and the beard, like real character. Was in love with Brienne of Tarth. He's in this. So, and he plays a completely different character, so that's cool. You see acting range here. In terms of acting's decent. No bad performance. I don't get her character. She's doing the weird dungarees thing. I don't get what they're trying to do with their character. Plus, how about this? If you're escaping and yet you rent an entire farmhouse, those things ain't cheap. But you can rent an entire farmhouse in middle of nowhere, not middle, obviously near a village somewhere. This is where it gets confusing because it's supposed to be in Ireland, but the landscape is not, and that's where it kind of throws you off. Probably for the international audience who don't have a clue, but Ireland's tiny country, like it's about this size, and there's a good bit at the top of the border, just saying. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, don't bother with them. But yeah, this takes place in the other bit where they still have horse and carts and cobbled streets and all that kind of stuff, and they keep looking over the border at us, with electricity and running water, and they're jealous and envious. Just saying. But yeah, it's a strange setup, so it makes me kind of a bit jarring. If you're from somewhere else in the world and you're watching this, you're probably not even blinking an eyelid. Oh, hang on. Go. I was a timid child the week you're talking about the movie. Yeah, Chris. I was actually quite a shy child myself. Lack of confidence, but it took me a while to grow into my own skin. Merry Christmas to you, man, and Happy New Year. Check your Skype, by the way. And hope you get to talk to you over the holidays. That's me off now and I have time. Hopefully get rid of this bloody stupid cough. Glad you're enjoying the channel. It's great to have people involved and drop messages. That's what this is all about. I can waffle at the camera, but it's nice to have interaction and people join in. That gives it that extra sort of level. And then obviously collaborating with folks just takes it up there again. And it's all about having fun. You've probably noticed I'm not about hate this movie, don't watch this movie. I just want to enjoy the art, see it for how it is, and sorry, see how it is, and then judge a thing on its merits. I'm not about trends or trying to do clickbait or going viral, that kind of nonsense. Just here to talk about movies, as if we were sitting in a pub together or around the sofa, all that good stuff. That's the way I want this to be. And for those of you that join in and appreciate it, I thank you. It really means a lot. It makes this kind of worthwhile. You wouldn't believe the amount of work in the background because I'm just to sit here, talk a lot of waffle in front of the camera. But there is, ask any streamer, YouTuber, you name it. It's actually not easy. I'm getting used to doing this and going, okay, I'm in front of the camera, speaking out into the universe, and I don't know if anyone's listening. It's can be really self-conscious, but once you get over it, it's really enjoyable. But yeah, so we've got this. We meet this woman. Turns out that their son died. And I can't remember, it was under suspicious circumstances, but that's kind of their family tragedy. As Christopher's trying to settle in. That story unfolds. And we'll find out that Chris has been out in the woods, and then we'll discover this massive sinkhole. And that's where it's not Ireland, it's more like Central Europe or even America, because Ireland doesn't have sinkholes as such. It has peat bog. It's a very unique landscape. So in terms of sinkholes, that it doesn't, because of the ground. The ground's already saturated with water, and the whole point of a sinkhole is saturated water, river underneath, water's moving, pulls everything down, that kind of stuff. But because of the type of peat, clay-based earth that Ireland has, that's why there's a unique phenomena. I talked about it during Murdoch. Was it Murdoch? Malloch, sorry. The peat murders, the bogs, when they actually find perfectly preserved bodies after hundreds of years buried in the bog, and in fact, it could have only been buried shallowly, but then the sink become part. But the actual peat, the ground is a really great preserving agencies. You actually find people who still got their hands tied and stuff, so it's really interesting. We've found bodies with like the slit marks in their throat, and a lot of them are maybe pagan sacrifices, which that movie, another movie in Central Europe. God, where was that? Was it Switzerland or somewhere? But you see it. So the ground, that's why I kind of find jarring, because the ground is not what they're trying to make out, and sinkholes are not a thing. We have our own unique stuff over here that works. It's like building basements in British in Ireland more than anything else, because you can build them over here in England and Scotland, because the ground's different. It's amazing how we, like, 26 miles of water in the scheme of things, is a blip, can completely change the landscape of somewhere. But in Ireland, it's very difficult to build basements because of the ground. And even in cities, we've tried to build the underground car parks. It's a mission. I mean, the amount of concrete has to be poured, and they have to worry about subsidence, because even building a secure structure, because of the nature of the ground, you can have a building tip over if you dig too deep and don't set the foundations right. Just the way it is, just the nature of the ground. And as always, it's the same as like Japan, for example, is prone to earthquakes, and they've specifically, that's hence the paper walls and buildings, because that stuff can easily be replaced after an earthquake. And the whole thing with the skyscrapers, I don't know if it was there or America, but the whole point of having skyscrapers, but the concrete blocks that actually move and provide counterbalance, all that kind of stuff. So each land is unique. And yes, I'm going off on a tangent again, but it's just interesting that when you set a landscape, maybe to the uninitiated, or if you don't know somewhere, but like me trying to do something in China, never having visited the place, and talk about the landscape as if I know what I'm doing from maybe a few pictures, it would be really foolish, because I wouldn't have that lay of the land, if that makes sense. But there we go. We find the sinkhole. Then the story kind of concentrates on Sarah trying to find her way, Chris trying to find his way, and then we have the tragedy of Noreen. I think it's Noreen is found dead with her head actually buried under the earth. So it's a very strange way to die. It's actually head forward, buried just up their neck, head forward into the earth, like a ostrich sort of thing. Then Christopher starts acting strangely, and it's almost possessed. I'm thinking not so much. I'm thinking more changeling. Changing would fit more with the location, or basically, and it's kind of story. Changeling is the old folklore of unbaptized babies. The demon will come in, swap the baby for one of theirs, and then the mother raised like a cuckoo, you know, will raise the baby, but it's not theirs, it's a demon. Then the original one goes off to get fed, you know, fed to the others, that kind of thing. So we start to see this quite decent. The way they portrayed it, they didn't overplay. The wee guy that plays Chris does a decent role, and he's not too hammy about it. The whole like sort of creepy kid thing doesn't go overboard. When we get to the actual confrontation, where Sarah's like, "You're not my son," that was really cool because he decides, and the camera works really decent. Basically, sorry, excuse me. He throws her about the place, and he's only, you know, child actor to do the cameras as she gets thrown about, and he's showing supernatural strength. She, God, what was it? She drugs him, hides him in the basement, then goes to find her son. Then that's where she ends up in the sinkhole herself. Turns out it's a lure, so that's why I'm saying the descent, same sort of thing that she's crawling through the underground, finds it. They're effectively changing, let's be honest. I think Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well. That's what the sort of beats of this movie. So she's down, she finds the original Chris, we think, because it's doing the misdirect, which I find a wee bit annoying because it's like, tell the story and we're good. But there's a wee bit too much of a is it, isn't it thing going on, which no need for. So far, it's been a tight drama. It's shown a lot of things. Without going over the top of CGI graphics and stuff, they actually show a couple of decent scenes, and they show Chris descend or revealing himself as the creature. So I don't know why they had to like take it too far, as in is it, isn't it? That gets annoying after a while. Don't like that. But yeah, she rescues him, and then there's other creatures down there sort of spawning. That's why I'm thinking Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But one grabs Sarah and it's an absolute replica of her. She does she stomp on him or punch it or something? No, I mean, she knocks it out, escapes, and then she's going off in the car. Chris is in the back. She's driving, and this is the bit that really annoys me because he opens his eyes, does a weird sort of smile, then it cuts. You're like, okay, so they're going to play the game of they had a changing with her, and then they're leaving another changing for her to find. Oh, and she burnt the house down with maybe fake Chris or real Chris, and that's what they're trying to play with. And I'm like, no need. So I was enjoying the movie up to the end, that part. And I'm like, oh, you're trying to be too clever. You're making it too complicated. You're already there. You told it good. There's good drama. There's a good atmosphere. Good acting. That's the lack of confidence. You're trying to do too much. Step back and enjoy what you have. But all in all, it's worth the watch. Decent enough movie. Worth the watch. Slow budget. Bit of effects thrown in. The wee kid could have been really bad and gnarly cheesy, but he turned out to be decent. She was decent in the role. The supporting cast weren't overbearing. You had your fella, like I said, to play your guy in Game of Thrones. He wasn't just being, oh, I'm famous for having done this, and they're just being me. He plays the character that he's playing, which is decent. That's the sign of a decent actor, to be honest, that don't rest in their laurels. And if a new role and means him being a broken old man, he'll be the broken old man. And I'm cool with that. So, fair play to you. That's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying not to cough again. I do apologise. I'm still working through whatever the hell this is. But I don't want to just leave the channel dead for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. 100%. You know, I'm just trying my best to find a bit of balance here and keep the content going. But if you enjoy what I do, follow the channel, do the typey clicky things, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.